You've got to sell stuff. You've got to move people to action to actually buy. The problem in so many sales conversations is that's where salespeople start. And that's what many of you, just did to each other. You sold to each other. The first step is that people start selling. In the structure that I recommend, it's step 3. Step 3 is selling, not step 1. When somebody calls me up and I answer the phone and they start telling me all the great reasons to do business with them, it doesn't work. Fundamentally, it doesn't work. It's based on the premise that you're really busy, you don't have long in your diary, I must give you all the great reasons to engage in my company straight away, and then you can make an informed decision. And when I listen to them, they normally put the phone down and say that person wasn't interested. My reply is nonsense. You've got no idea whether they're interested, they just want to talk to you. So step 3 is selling. Okay, so let's talk about what comes before that. This is all stuff you'll recognise, I hope, but so often it's not done by salespeople. If you're selling to your best friend, and if you're selling to me, who you don't know, clearly, to whom will you sell better? To your best friend or to me?
To you.
To me? Wow. Your friend must be really, really tricky to sell to. Who you like? Your best friend, why?
You have a psychological contract with them.
Yeah?
There's trust, there's mutual trust, there's mutual communication. It's much, much easier.
Yeah? What else?
You know them and you know what they're influenced by, and therefore the way you should tell the story.
Yeah. Really? You scratching your head, or were you?
No, there is common ground.
Yeah. You understand who they are, you know their language, you know, as Lady said there, you know what their buying decisions are, they, you know if they're cheap and cheerful and just want something quick and cheap, or if they want to invest in brand. And so you naturally adapt the way you position it to them, and you necessarily do that to me. Okay, so the common sense way is to do what before we start selling to somebody? Get to know them. What's the easiest way to get to know people? Ask questions. I would suggest to you that in proper sales conversations, 50 to 70% of the conversation should be you asking questions. 50 to 70%. It's where all the gold is, where all the money is, all the connection, everything's in the questions. And yet most salespeople jump straight to selling. So ask questions, find out who they are. You know that silly party game that I haven't played for years where you stick a post-it on your head, or people stick post-its on your head, it's a famous person, and you've got, is it 20 questions you have to guess who you are? Without the famous people and without the closed questions, I think selling is the same. If I can start selling an idea, a concept, a product to you, I need to know who you are. I need to know what you're about, what you're motivated by, what your background is. There's so much I need to know to better position. Sometimes when you've done those questions, you might decide your product and service isn't right for these people. And it's better use of your time and theirs to not do it there and then. So step 2 is to ask questions, and 50 to 70% of the time I'd recommend is spent there. And I want to come back to asking questions. It's so important to talk to you a bit about how to structure those questions. Okay, but there's a step before that. This happened to me only the other day, where I got a phone call from my mobile phone provider, I should say that actually, rather than the name, because it wasn't a great phone call. I've been a client of theirs for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. I'm probably a light touch client. They send me the bills, they get paid, and they never need to deal with me. And they called me up. And here's more or less how the conversation went. Hello, Mr. Owen, this is David from company XYZ. How are you getting on with your phone? Are you happy with the call plan? Do you think it's working for you in the right way? Would you like to look at any upgrade options? What's your guess of what happened in that conversation?
You said no, 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 no.
Were you there? Okay. Say again?
You said you were busy.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. Said I was busy and I wasn't able to take this conversation now, which in that case I genuinely couldn't, unless it was some life-threatening thing or any bit of business. But they've called me about 6, 7, 8 times since I haven't taken the phone call. Why didn't I say, I mean, I'm a client of theirs. And he might have had something brilliant to share with me, but why didn't I answer his questions and why didn't I take his call?
You know they're trying to sell you something.
Might be that. But I might be happy in ignorance. It might be some brilliant thing.
They didn't ask you any open questions?
Well, they weren't, yeah, you're right, they weren't great questions. I suggest to you that this is the reason. He gave me no reason to speak to him today. When I pick up the phone, our phones are actually, we forget our phones are an invitation to speak that we accept by answering it. It's not a demand. Anyway, we all answer our phones, and we're still thinking, why on earth am I going to speak to you today? And if you jump straight into questions, I wasn't just sitting around thinking, oh, I've got 5 minutes to kill, I could just do with a bit of survey. If only someone would call me, that's the best use of my time. I'm busy, or I think I'm busy, and that's all that matters. And so I'm not going to answer questions just for the hell of it. I need some reason. Had that guy said to me, Mr. Owen is a valued client, I'd like to understand exactly how you're using our service at the moment. Once I understand that, I think I can save you some money in the way you use your phone. Have you got time to speak? I think it's a pretty good chance I would have taken that call. So the first step to me of any sales conversation, it's especially prevalent, especially important in telephone conversations, but I think it's the same in meetings, is you have to earn the right to speak to me today. If you can't answer the question in the first 15, 20, 25 seconds of why should I speak to you today, then I'm probably going to cut you off. So the first step is earn the right, which I think is about giving me a real reason, a business benefit, or a personal benefit, to speak to you today. What's the danger if you don't get that right? The danger is I don't have a reason to speak to you, so I don't answer your questions. What's the danger if I don't answer your questions? You can't sell to me. You can't sell to me, you don't understand me. You can throw some information at me, but you can't really sell to me. For salespeople, the greatest part, or so the part of the conversation for which they can most prepare is the opening of the conversation. You're going to ring, they're going to pick up the phone, and they're going to say hello, or some version thereof. And yet I find that the significant majority of salespeople don't prepare for the opening. And there's so much business is wasted because of that. Okay, so you've got to earn the right. Give me some reason to speak to you today, and then ask questions. Find out about me, find out about my business, find out about what I think about your product and service, maybe. What needs to be the last step for any successful sales conversation?
Always focus on that.
EDC, yeah? It's not. I'm not doing EDC's speech, don't worry. You've got to close. I mean, you've got to finish the conversation in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully agree a next step. Okay? Now, I call that step yes or no. It's a yes or no moment in a conversation. Now, before you're all thinking, oh my goodness, this guy is hammering nails into people's hands and they have to say yes or no to the deal based on a 3.5-minute conversation on the phone, that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is if you've identified a need or a desire or whatever it might be for the product or service that you offer, it is only sensible to agree a next step. That next step might be another phone call booked in a week's time to discuss in more detail. It might be a meeting, it could be anything. But yes or no is a critical next step. And there's a particular reason, other than the fact I wanted to make an acronym that was easy to remember, and what easier acronym is than easy. The yes or no is actually quite an important point. Many salespeople think no is the worst answer. I will suggest you no is not the worst answer in sales. Any ideas what the worst answer might be in sales, in business development?
Get back to you later.
Get back to you later, maybe. Now, I should have said at the beginning, everything I say today all sounds very dogmatic and definitive. I don't think life is that simple. And I think there's never an always do X and an always do Y. But across the sales teams that I've worked with for many years, the greatest killer of sales team time, sales team motivation, and sales team success, could be that, is maybes. Because what do people often mean when they say maybe? No! We're awfully polite in the UK still, and we think, oh, he seems a nice enough bloke, he's just trying to do a job. I'll tell him to send me an email and I'll get back to you if I'm interested. What does the salesperson do? Put it in their pipeline. Things looking good, boss. A couple of million in the pipeline, and the 100 becomes 200, becomes 300 people in their pipeline, and they spend all their time calling people that actually are saying no, but they say maybe, so they keep them.